From the moment truth pierced the darkness like lightning across stormy skies, everything changed. You, precious chosen ones, carried wisdom that others couldn't comprehend. When you spoke, your words held divine authority that made deceivers tremble. Standing firm in your calling, you watched as those who opposed you lost their confidence, their faces draining of color as reality broke through their carefully constructed illusions. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked advance against me to devour me, it is my enemies and my foes who will stumble and fall. Psalm 27, verse 1-2. The justice you carry isn't earthly, it's heaven sent. Like a brilliant light, it exposes everything hidden in shadow. These aren't mere claims or suggestions, they're undeniable facts anchored in spiritual bedrock. The fear gripping your opponents comes not from anger, but from the chilling realization that your every word aligns with heaven's truth. Your spiritual awakening lifted the veil from your eyes, revealing patterns and deceptions others couldn't see. When you pointed out manipulation and named the darkness for what it was, they called you unstable. They tried silencing your voice of truth. But time, God's faithful witness, has confirmed every revelation you shared. Now divine justice arrives at their doorstep. The very weapons they crafted against you boomerang back with supernatural precision. Those who dug pits for your downfall now stumble into their own traps, not because you wished them harm, your hands remain clean, but because spiritual law is perfect, what we sow, we reap. Energy completes its circuit and returns to its source. They lie awake now, haunted by the chaos they orchestrated. Their anxiety exposes the hollowness of their false peace. The very disasters they plotted for you now shadow their own paths. In bitter irony, those who ignored your warnings now scramble to prepare for the very things you foresaw. Too proud to acknowledge your heaven-sent discernment, they quietly implement your insights without credit. Justice moves like dawn breaking through night, steady, unstoppable, reaching every corner where deception hid. Each scheme hatched in darkness, every whispered conspiracy, all calculated slander rises to the surface. Those who appointed themselves your judges now stand before heaven's court. Those who tried destroying your reputation face consequences their denial cannot deflect. The universe may permit temporary injustice, but it always ensures ultimate balance. What unfolds now simply completes the spiritual equation set in motion when they moved against you. Their desperate clinging to false narratives reveals the depth of their fear. They gambled on your silence, your collapse, your surrender. But they never counted on your divine resilience or the sacred protection woven into your destiny. Watch as their alliances fracture and crumble. Those once united against your light now turn on each other with vicious precision. Without a common enemy, their false unity dissolves. Like rats fleeing a sinking ship, they scatter in desperate self-preservation. Their loyalty was never to truth, only to opposing it. Your vision, refined through trials, sees clearly while theirs remains clouded by ego and deception. From the start, you understood this battle was spiritual, not superficial. While they obsessed over appearances and earthly advantage, you discerned the deeper war. What looked like temporary defeat was actually divine positioning for victory. The wisdom forged in your suffering becomes your fortress, while their superficial success decays into devastating failure. The very systems they used to validate their lies now question everything. Witnesses they gathered contradict themselves. Evidence they manufactured crumbles under heaven's scrutiny. And all this happens without you lifting a finger. Divine orchestration accomplishes what human hands were never meant to force. Their refusal to accept responsibility isn't strength, it's spiritual immaturity. True power takes responsibility. Real leadership owns its failures. Their denial exposes deeper weakness, not just fear of consequences, but fear of seeing themselves honestly. Each truth you spoke planted seeds now bearing fruit. You don't need to chase justice, it comes to you. The reality you built on truth stands firm, while their deceptions dissolve in dawn's light. The cosmic lens pulls back to reveal your personal trials as part of humanity's greater awakening. What felt like isolated attacks against you now shows itself as a key piece in God's larger plan. Your vindication isn't just personal, it's a signpost of transformation for many. Those who weaponized your vulnerability find themselves defenseless. Those who exploited your weakness now watch their own strength fade. Those who mocked your pain now face trials that make your past look mild in comparison. What they inflicted returns not by your hand, but through perfect universal balance. A justice requiring neither your vengeance nor intervention. It simply operates as God ordained. Watch how they seem to age before your eyes. Deception exacts a physical toll. The strain of maintaining lies weighs heavily on body and spirit, accelerating their decline. Meanwhile, truth they deceive, the more exhausted they become. The more you align with truth, the stronger you grow. Their energy drains while yours expands. Daily the contrast sharpens. Your clarity brightens as their confusion deepens. Your peace grows as their chaos multiplies. Through every trial you were refined like gold and fire. What meant to destroy you made you more authentic, more centered, more powerful. Their refusal to grow traps them in cycles of defeat. They resist the very lessons that could redeem them, reject experiences that might elevate them, refuse the accountability that could free them. But spiritual laws operate with mathematical precision, whether believed or not. Intention becomes experience. Action breeds consequence. Their denial didn't shield them, it only delayed the outcome. That delay now ends. Watch them scramble desperately to outrun approaching judgment. Like cornered animals, they lash out but hit nothing. Their accusations grow louder but convince fewer. Their attacks intensify but cannot shake your peace. But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40 verse 31. Divine timing isn't absence, it's precision. They mistook delay for denial, patience for powerlessness. But now heaven's forces move with unstoppable momentum. The scale of what approaches exceeds all they prepared for. These aren't just earthly consequences, they're spiritual, running deeper than imagined. Fear grips them as they realize this lies beyond their control. No manipulation can reverse their course. No network of influence can shield them from violated spiritual law. They face something incorruptible and unshakable. Your truth shattered their illusions. Your authenticity exposed their performance. Your unwavering integrity made their corruption undeniable. While they paraded false righteousness, your genuine connection to God revealed their emptiness. Your quiet confidence highlighted their loud insecurity. Simply walking in truth created contrast they couldn't face or fight. The very fire meant to destroy you became your refining furnace. Their deception became foundation for your discernment. Every weapon used against you strengthened you while depleting them. Their former boldness withers to trembling caution. Where they once spoke boldly, now they whisper in shadows. Where they moved openly to sabotage you, now they hide in fear. Their bravado fades, leaving only regret. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. Isaiah 54 verse 17. They stand at a crossroads. One path leads through accountability and humility toward possible redemption. The other path of continued denial leads to increasing consequences and spiritual destruction. Their fear stems not just from current judgment, but realizing this may be their final chance to choose wisely. God may be patient, but He isn't passive. Moments of decision always arrive. Your justice comes through revelation, not retaliation. Truth doesn't need to fight, it only needs to be seen. The light you carry never attacked darkness, it simply exposed it. The clarity you walk in doesn't war with confusion, it offers higher perspective. Because you stayed aligned with divine law, Justice unfolds without requiring you to judge or execute. Now their spiritual bankruptcy becomes glaringly visible as temporary power crumbles before eternal truth. They face heaven's foreclosure, their moral credit exhausted through repeated violation of spiritual law. With no remaining ethical capital to bargain with, they stand before consequences they can no longer avoid. Meanwhile, the spiritual wealth you've accumulated through unwavering integrity and persecution shines beside their obvious poverty of character. Watch how communities that turned against you now question their stories. People who believed their lies now doubt everything. Their influence wanes most in spaces they once dominated. Territories they controlled through deception now awaken to liberating truth. Universal forces align not to reward ego, but to confirm truth. Truth needs no maintenance or manipulation. Unlike lies demanding constant reinforcement, truth stands unshaken, self-supporting, independent of human belief or acceptance. This terrifies them. Deep down they understand spiritual law, something ancient within them. Some ancestral knowing reminds them that violation always invites consequence. Their panic echoes that realization, the awareness that approaching judgment cannot be manipulated, outrun, or negotiated with. Your vindication carries heaven's authority. Those carrying truth often walk difficult roads, but divine wisdom never abandons its messengers. The mantle you bore under intense opposition now receives cosmic validation. Every message you delivered that they dismissed now returns proven accurate and undeniable. Notice the precision of this justice. It doesn't move in vague strokes. It strikes exactly where harm was done. Those who slandered your name face public discredit. Those who sabotaged your finances endure collapse. Those who isolated you experience abandonment. Those who mocked your mind wrestle with psychological unraveling. This is divine response, not revenge. Justice tailored with spiritual intelligence. They discover too late the supernatural protection surrounding truth-bearers, the unseen guardians, the cosmic boundaries, the energetic shields existing beyond natural perception. What looked like vulnerability was covered by immeasurable spiritual authority. Their attempts to rewrite history unravel as evidence surfaces with perfect timing, often through systems they once controlled. The very mechanisms used to hide truth now expose them with stunning clarity. Universal law functions with or without human agreement. Their increasing desperation signals how close divine equation comes to completion. This cosmic cycle reaches its balancing point. The imbalance they created must be corrected, and the precision of heaven's recalibration is flawless. Your endurance through persecution testifies to spiritual strength. What they mocked as weakness, grace, patience, humility, now proves your power, while their arrogance reveals the fragility they tried hiding. Heaven's spotlight now illuminates shadows where they acted freely, exposing everything to awakening souls. Their panic, evasion, and trembling voices betray more than words ever could. Your vindication isn't about personal gratification, it's about collective recognition of truth. This moment isn't just for you, it's for all who needed to see that spiritual justice is real. What you endured becomes part of humanity's greater awakening curriculum. That's why your justice carries supernatural force. It's not revenge, it's divine realignment. The universe works to restore balance they disrupted through warring against truth. Their downfall demonstrates what happens when spiritual principles face violation at scale. The gap between your position and theirs tells the complete story. Your temporary pain birthed permanent peace. Their momentary dominance breeds lasting turmoil. Your integrity under fire built unshakable foundation. Their corruption under comfort built only collapse. Universal law isn't about punishment, it's about restoration. The fear they carry simply shows the soul acknowledging that scales tip toward balance. This vindication arrived not on human timeline, but divine schedule, precisely when it could serve highest purpose. What looked like delay now reveals itself as perfect orchestration. Those still clinging to denial despite overwhelming evidence no longer show strength, but spiritual deterioration. Their detachment from truth isn't resilience, but breakdown. Their refusal to acknowledge reality isn't stance but symptom. The consequences they face transcend the material world, though certainly appearing there too. Financial collapse, reputation loss, relationship breakdown, structural failure. But beyond visible judgment lies deeper reckoning, existential confrontation with truth they tried suppressing. While some consequences unfold publicly, others occur privately, silently, inescapably. In both seen and unseen ways, justice reaches every corner. Those who mocked your faith now face phenomena they can't explain. Those who ridiculed your discernment experience realities their worldview cannot grasp. Your justice was never just about making things right for you. It was about proving truth cannot be destroyed, only delayed. Now they find themselves immersed in scenarios their limited minds never predicted, confronting reality they once denied, entering territories their shallow understanding never prepared them for. Those who scoffed at your insights now stumble through mazes of spiritual consequence with no compass to guide them. Their fear grows not just from what happens, but from finally facing what their belief systems claimed impossible. What felt like fiction, spiritual law, divine justice, cosmic protection, now becomes the very force unraveling their plans. They confront a world they dismissed, and it terrifies them. Heaven's support for truth speakers becomes unmistakably evident when opposition burns hottest. When persecution peaks, the cosmic armor shielding divine messengers shimmers into view. When attacks grow most coordinated and vicious, the spiritual defense surrounding those walking in light becomes undeniable. The times you felt most vulnerable were actually moments of sacred invincibility. What they saw as weakness was divine concealment. What they interpreted as silence was spiritual strategy. Now, as tides shift, their fear grows proportionally with dawning realization of what they've truly provoked. They begin grasping the magnitude of spiritual forces awakened by rising against truth. These forces don't operate within human frameworks or limited intellectual models. They move through divine intelligence and cosmic precision. What they thought was simply conflict with another person turns out to be opposition to universal law itself. Their rejection of divine truth triggered cosmic sequence far beyond comprehension. The consequences they endure aren't punishment. They're natural result of energetic decisions. They stand in exact space their choices created, facing manifestations they work to avoid. There's no external judgment, only pure outcome of misaligned intent. The fear they wear like second skin isn't accidental. It's the soul's instinctive recognition of reaching spiritual threshold. The careful illusion they constructed implodes under truth's weight. Yet you remain still, knowing the universe doesn't need help balancing itself. Divine order restores itself flawlessly. Spiritual justice operates with or without human effort. This understanding frees you from burden of proving, fighting, or correcting. Your vindication unfolds through principles greater than revenge. It arrives through silent, unstoppable momentum of natural law. Your life, your walk, your survival provides all evidence needed. You don't need to argue truth when you've lived it. Every breath, despite their silencing attempts, becomes testimony. Every peaceful step forward speaks louder than public defense. Your continued evolution, despite their efforts to suppress you, proves everything they work to deny. Your very existence contradicts their lies. You are both defense and witness, proof and prophecy. You are the storm they never saw coming. Justice doesn't shout. It arrives in silence and settles like truth that can no longer be ignored. And now it's here. Not early, not late, but right on divine time. What you called delay was never delay. It was heaven arranging circumstances for maximum impact. The Almighty God never forgot what was done to you. The delay wasn't absence, it was alignment. Behind scenes, forces you couldn't see worked in synchronization to bring forth truth in a way none could deny. Those who laughed at your intuition, mocked your visions, dismissed your discernment now face undeniable evidence. They experience exact spiritual consequences of resisting what was meant to be revealed. The mockers, saboteurs, manipulators each encounter what they feared most: financial turmoil, public exposure, emotional collapse, relationship breakdown. But beyond visible consequences lies something more profound: spiritual reckoning. The soul itself answers to higher court. While this happens publicly in ways others witness, much unfolds privately in depths of being. Some justice plays before audiences. Other forms appear behind closed doors where only the individual knows its weight. Yet both are real, and both are divine. The dual dimensions of justice, seen and unseen, create comprehensive reckoning. No denial escapes. Those who dismissed your spiritual awareness now find themselves immersed in realities their material minds can't grasp. Those who called you dramatic or delusional face experiences their logic cannot explain. This isn't about you versus them anymore. It's about spiritual law revealing its intelligence. Your vindication isn't just for your healing. It's a message to the world that truth cannot be silenced forever. Your personal experience becomes part of collective awakening. This moment isn't just victory, it's revelation. The protection you always had becomes visible. The light that always guided you becomes undeniable. The contrast between your path and theirs speaks volumes. While you rose in humility and grace, they sank in arrogance and denial. While you surrendered to growth, they resisted every opportunity for change. While you aligned with truth, they allied with illusion. Now those different choices bloom into completely different outcomes. You experience peace because you endured with integrity. They suffer chaos because they opposed what was never meant to be fought. Their suffering isn't your responsibility, but your peace is your reward. The fear you see in them now is confession, living admission that they understand, even if only in soul's depths, what they've done. The more they resist, the more intense consequence becomes. Evasion doesn't cancel truth, it deepens correction. Delay doesn't mean escape, it simply increases impact when balance returns. And now the return is here. Watch with calm assurance as heaven completes its work. No retaliation needed, no bitterness required. You are aligned. You are covered. The orchestration of justice happening now across multiple layers, emotional, financial, relational, energetic, proves divine law never forgets. Your vindication stretches across time, dimensions, and awareness. This isn't destruction, it's revelation. Not vengeance, it's truth revealed in full, undeniable brilliance. What was always hidden, your protection, your purpose, your purity, now stands openly for all to see. Now the universe itself rises, validating your journey, your truth, your unwavering stance. What looked like weakness, moments where you were outnumbered, silenced, cast aside, now reveals itself as profound invincibility. At opposition's peak, when darkness coordinated its most aggressive assault, the full force of your spiritual strength emerges. What they perceived as fragility was divine stillness. What they mistook for defeat was sacred restraint. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. I will vindicate you in the sight of all who oppose you, declares the Lord. Exodus 14:14 combined with Ezekiel 36 verse 23. Their escalating fear isn't just about visible events. It's about what they feel pressing in from realms they never acknowledged. Because what comes now transcends material reality. This isn't just about ruined reputations or financial downfall. This is about confronting the ultimate mirror reflecting spiritual truth. Their terror silently confesses, subconsciously recognizing they've activated forces they were never meant to challenge. Deep within, even if denied outwardly, they understand they've moved against something far greater than themselves. Their fear signals not just guilt, but spiritual awareness, instinctive knowing that nothing escapes the reckoning unfolding when divine balance restores. This isn't just your personal story anymore. Your vindication expands into sacred act of collective awakening. What you endured wasn't meaningless. It served something far larger than personal validation. Your struggle, silence, and perseverance crack open the path for others' awakening. Your individual victory becomes key unlocking freedom for many. The divine timing of your justice isn't coincidental. It didn't come when you demanded or world expected. It arrived at exact moment ordained by perfect precision of cosmic scheduling. The universal calendar doesn't follow mortal timelines. It moves by divine law in flawless orchestration, unmoved by human impatience or misunderstanding. Those who opposed you thought your silence meant weakness and isolation, meant defeat. They never realized you were covered by force beyond comprehension. Now too late they sense it. The spiritual authorities guarding truth. The unseen protection enveloping those chosen to carry light. Their fear testifies to dawning realization. They opposed not just a person but sacred principle. They didn't just attack you. They challenged very flow of divine order. The justice unfolding wasn't conjured by revenge or driven by retaliation. It was triggered by their own actions, powered by natural unchanging laws of universe. It wasn't your hand moving it forward. It was unavoidable outcome of cosmic principle. You didn't need to scheme or fight for this moment. It came because it was always meant to. Because truth once planted grows. Because energy once set in motion returns. This isn't result of your force but of your alignment. Not product of manipulation but fruit of obedience to higher law. Not calculated win but divine fulfillment. And now you're called not to act but to witness. To stand as conscious observer of justice so perfect, so complete, that it needs nothing from you except awareness. Your presence, your survival, your peace. Those are enough. Everything you stood for confirms itself not through argument, but through unfolding events. The very existence of this moment proves you were always aligned with something sacred. Let them feel what you once carried alone. Let them now understand the weight of truth they tried burying. For what was hidden now stands plain. What was denied becomes undeniable. And what was mocked now becomes the very force bringing everything back into divine balance. Glory to God who vindicates his chosen ones in his perfect timing. May this testimony strengthen those still waiting for their moment of divine justice. Trust in his timing, for he who began good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Amen.